Hello, beautiful. Happy New Year. January is a hot and heavy month for doing a little planning in order to make your taxes go nice and smoothly. So I know you may be working through a hangover from New Year's. You may have a list of resolutions you want to get through, but from a practical standpoint, just taking 30 minutes to plan where you're going to put your tax documents, set up a little bit of tax organization is going to save you hours, if not weeks, of work and stress and headache for the year. So today on the Sunlight Podcast, what I want to bring to you is a checklist for your January to get yourself organized for the tax year. All right? This is one of those things that I struggled, like, should I give this away for free? Should I direct people to my paid programming to give this? And I just thought, you know what? Screw it. Everybody needs this. And I want every single one of you to be able to benefit from good tax organization because it's just such a sanity saver. Not to mention time saver, not to mention money saver. So I'm giving it all away today on the podcast. So let's jump right in. Here is the January checklist to get yourself organized for your tax year. And your one and only task that starts immediately, even with that hangover, is number one, record your odometer. All right. Now, ideally, you want to make a habit of recording your odometer every year on the 1st of January. But listen, if it's the 2nd of January, it's pretty close. So you're doing pretty well. January, even if you started a little late, is still going to be better than not remembering until August, right? So do it as soon as you can. Just snap a picture, note the mileage number. Now, why are we doing this? Because this is going to be your starting mileage. Business mileage is one of the very biggest and yet one of the most frequently missed deductible items on your freelance taxes. All right. The mileage rate is incredibly generous. It's very close to it's almost 70 cents per dollar. 70 cents per mile when you are using your car for business purposes. Now, that's not a commute, but business purposes. So going to visit a client, doing a site visit, going to a meeting somewhere outside of your workplace, a supply run, basically anywhere that you drive for a business purpose that's not your commute is deductible mileage for you. And one of the only IRS rules that exists around this is you must keep a mileage log. Okay. So very importantly, one of the things you need to do is you need to track how many miles you drove for the entire year using your car. And the reason you need that number and not just a reporting of all the business miles is we know, the IRS knows, I know that your car is not a vehicle dedicated only to your business. You're also doing personal things in your car, like picking up your kids and getting groceries, things like that. And for that reason, you must, on your tax return, check a box that says, I have the written documentation that the law requires me to have. So know that that's there. And you also must track the full number of miles you drove for the year. So this is why the little checkbox I want you to click today is to record your odometer, because what that does is it gives you an ending mileage for the miles you drove in 2023, and it gives you a starting mileage for 2024. Okay. That way you can report 100% of the miles you drove and then the subset of business miles that you drove. You want to do yourself one better, set a little calendar alarm for yourself inside your calendar that tells you to do this every single year on January 1st. All right. Cool. Also, just a little tip is I did inside my program, if you're in Money Bootcamp, I have just added a new calendar feature, downloadable Google Calendar, and it has this reminder in there. So you should be getting a little reminder from me around now to snap a picture of your odometer. Okay, next, let's talk about your tax documents. So one of the things I want you to do is create a paper 2024 tax file and a digital 2024 tax file, okay? So what you want to do is get a physical folder. If you have like a filing cabinet where you keep important documents, for example, you want to get a physical folder, and you're going to put an email folder, like in your inbox, create a folder for tax documents that come to you electronically, right? More and more that's happening. And this is going to be to collect all your 2023 tax documents as they roll in during this month of January. Okay. Most of these documents are due to be sent to you by January 31st. That is the issuing deadline for 1099. So most of your 1099 should come in before that date. W-2s also should come in before that date. Okay. Remember, if you're married filing jointly, there are two of you who should be contributing documents to that folder, unless you each have your own separate folders, which is also fine. Okay. Little note that your brokerage statements, if you have investments, securities, stocks and bonds, dividends, the brokerage statement does not have a filing deadline until February 15th. And so you tend to get those after the 15th of February. In other words, people who have investments often cannot be the very first people to file their tax return because they are usually waiting on a brokerage statement. All right. If you moved this year, check in with anybody that you worked for that your address on file is correct. Okay. This is really important because you want to make sure that you receive all your W-2s, all your 1099s, all your brokerage statements, etc. Okay. If you moved this year and you didn't fill out that W-4 or that W-9, you haven't filled that out for months and months and months with whoever paid you, and the address that they have on file is going to be a different one from where you actually live, this is extra important. Okay. So do go through, look at who owes you a 1099, who you did work for, or a W-2, and make sure you update them on your new address, because the IRS is getting a copy of your 1099s and W-2s. And if you miss it, they know you missed it, and they will send you an automated letter that says, hey, whoopsie, you forgot to report this income. All right. So let's avoid that. All right. Number 3. This month, you want to file any 1099s that you owe, okay? Now, remember, you owe a 1099 to anyone that you paid for your business, so not for your personal life, right? If you paid a house cleaner or a window washer or something, you do not owe that person a 1099 because that's personal. But if they did work for your business, if you hired a photographer for some product photography or a website designer, etc., then you will owe them a 1099 if you paid them over $600. Now, there are a lot of shades of gray in there, and there are a lot of special rules. I have a training inside of Money Bootcamp all about that if you're in my program. Also, if you decide you're going to join Money Bootcamp in my upcoming launch, I am going to be giving that training live in a format where I'm teaching all the stuff, but there's a big, robust Q&A at the end, because 1099s, oh my God, are they confusing? A lot of people have a lot of questions about them. And if you've never issued a 1099 to a contractor before and you're feeling intimidating about it, I know that a little extra handholding can go a long way to get you over the hump of filing that first 1099 to a contractor. But what I want you all to know, if you're listening right now, whether you get 1099 information from me or not, that in general, assume you owe a 1099 to anyone you paid over $600 to do work for your business this year. And your deadline is January 31st. You have to issue those 1099s to them by the 31st of January. Okay. Next, if you don't have one yet, now is the time to open a separate bank account for your business. This is as close as you're ever going to be to the break in the year between 2023 and 2024. So you'll get the cleanest record you possibly can get if you open that bank account soon. So if this is a task that's been on your list for a while and you've been putting it off, now is the time. Okay. So a separate business bank account is very important. You want to make a habit of only paying for your business expenses from your business account, or with a business credit card. Okay, this should be your golden rule. No personal expenses paid out of your business account. You don't need to open a business bank account technically, but if you are an LLC or you have a DBA, then you will actually need to. So I'm saying it doesn't need to be classified as a business account by your bank. The point is it needs to be a separate account. So you can open what your bank calls a personal account and use that as your business account. That is okay. The point is the separation. And when you do that, you have magic that happens because now all the income that goes into that account and all the expenses that come out, those are business income and business expenses. So it forms the backbone of your record keeping, right? It forms the backbone of your bookkeeping. All right. So that's a way to simplify your bookkeeping all year and keep your accounts nice and clean. Also helpful to know that if you have an LLC, that is an absolute requirement because maintaining business and personal separation is actually a legal requirement of having an LLC, something you can accidentally invalidate if you mix and match your personal and business accounts. So that's a no-no. Okay, now you want to create a digital 2024 tax receipts folder, okay? So you want to make a folder in your email now that it's the new year labeled your name here, Business Retreats 2024, or however, whatever naming convention you want, but that's my recommendation. And you want to get yourself accustomed to archiving your receipts anytime you buy a business item online into that folder, okay? You want a place where you can go year by year and open it up and all your digital receipts are in there, okay? So anytime you buy a plane ticket for a business conference, Dick Blick, Amazon, whatever it is, that's a business expense. The receipt, the digital receipt you get should go in there. Now, there's an analog version of this too that you want to do. If you are getting any digital receipts anymore, I know, you probably will have a few strays throughout the year. You also want to create a paper 2024 tax receipt folder, okay? So you want to make a physical folder. So again, that's like a hanging folder in a filing cabinet type of thing for keeping your paper receipts. And I'm going to give you an extra special receipt tip, all right? If you always put your newest receipt in the front of your wallet when you get it, right? You get receipts out in the world. So if your newest receipt always goes in the front of your wallet, and then whenever your wallet is full and it's time to dump it, to clean it out, you dump those receipts into the front of your file folder. They will remain in chronological order without you ever needing to sort them, okay? Hallelujah. So in other words, sorting receipts is a thing you never need to waste time on again in your life. Receipts are for storage, right? You should keep them for 7 years. You need to keep them in case you get audited as your proof of what you did. The IRS has a right to look at your proof of anything on your tax return in any given tax year for up to 6 years. So you should never need to touch your receipts. You should never have to be sorting through them so long as you have accurate bank and credit card records from a dedicated business account, right? That's what you do your bookkeeping from, not the receipts. But you need to actually have the physical receipt or a photocopied version or, some digital replica of it to actually serve as the proof that you made that expense if you ever get audited by the IRS and the IRS comes and says, hey, all those meals and travel receipts, we'd like to see them. This is your year, okay? Because they have the right to do that. Okay, so that is my January organization checklist for you. You've got a couple to-do list items on there, but it's not too bad. It shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes tops to put those folders into your inbox, to make a couple physical file folders, and to get yourself all set up for a nice, easy, streamlined tax season. All right. Now, I want you to know that next week, I am giving a free masterclass called Make Taxes Easier and Stash an Extra $130K in your savings. And I will be talking about some of the systems that you need to stay organized, including how to really streamline your bookkeeping in a way that is more appropriate for a solopreneur who might not need the complexity and confusion of bookkeeping software. So I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the math behind how retirement is genuinely possible when you use tax-advantaged accounts. It's a really cool class. It gets great reviews. I will also be talking about my program, Money Bootcamp. And so if you are feeling that feeling of like, oh, I wonder what is in that program and if it might be a fit, you will learn all about it there. There's no high pressure sales tactics. Don't worry. It is really just a place to understand what it is that I offer and who it is designed for. Right? And you can also ask me questions. So I welcome you to come join me in that class. And I will say, because it's January, it is typically my busiest, biggest month of the year. And it is the very best time to join Money Bootcamp because now is the time for setup. If you get started in January, setting up to pay your estimated quarterly taxes, setting up a bookkeeping system, setting up receipts and document systems so your taxes are easy, you can be set for the whole year and avoid those surprise tax bills that happen. Stay on top of your quarterly taxes so that this time next year, you have a $0 tax bill. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So I'm offering some really juicy bonuses during this round because they've been really, really popular. So I will be teaching a live class on how to calculate and recalculate your estimated quarterly tax payments so that you have more cash available to you throughout the year. So in other words, how to pay your quarterly taxes without relying on those clunky, inaccurate estimates based on last year's tax numbers. And as you know, as I know, we in the creative industries very rarely have the same income one year to the next. And so those can really leave you with not enough cash in your business. I'm also going to be teaching a live class on how to issue 1099s. So if you have never issued 1099s before to your contractors, if you feel confused about that somewhat scary process, getting it right for your IRS documentation, I will be teaching a short and sweet but robust Q&A version of my 1099s training. So you'll learn all the special rules, all the exceptions, all the reasons you might not have to issue a 1099 depending on how you paid someone. So that live class is going to be a bonus along with that live class on estimated quarterly tax payments. I'm offering both of those in January as a bonus for people who join Money Bootcamp in the month of January. So the way to do that is to go ahead and sign up for that free training that's happening January 9th called Make Taxes Easier and Stash an Extra $130K in your savings. And you can sign up for that at go.sunlighttax.com/free. So one more time, go.sunlighttax.com/free to register for that free class and learn some really valuable, tangible skills you can use right away this tax season, plus learn more about this program and get all of my best bonuses of the year. So I hope to see you in the class, and I hope you work off that hangover, or if you're like me and you don't like staying up late and drinking a lot anymore, maybe you're going for an early morning walk. I'll see you on the walk. So happy New Year, everybody. Happy organizing. And I hope you take this checklist, share it with a friend if you found it useful, and go and get yourself organized for the whole year. See ya. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm so grateful for that. This video is for education and entertainment only. Nothing in this episode should be taken as individual tax or financial advice. You can find all the tools, books, and links I reference at sunlighttax.com/podcast.